So in the last chapter, Gurudev introduced quite a few very powerful notions, concepts, themes, ideas. And, this is the very first copy of I Love You letters that I read all those years ago. And I've got so many pencil scribbles all over the place. Because I remember in this chapter, it was like, oh my gosh, that's such a good point. Oh my gosh, this is such a good point. So I don't think we spoke about the commercial giving and taking in relationships last week, did we? No. So maybe we can explore that a little bit today. And then I think we did cover last week how we try to receive love by being good. We covered that amply last week. So being a good person or looking good or being successful. And so we try to receive the love. And then there's this sense of we have all of us this our world that we have created. And so our world will have the same people. Of course, our immediate family is part of our world. And then work, some colleagues will be there, and then a few of our friends. And then most of us tend not to go too much further than that. That's our world. Whatever 100, 200 people that we know. And then interestingly, we just stay in that bubble. And even in that bubble, we don't think of all these people as people that we love. So who do we love? Then we very selective. Yeah. So sometimes parents are on the list. Sometimes parents are not on the list. Family members are optional, whether we love them or not. Just because they're family doesn't mean we love them. And then romantically speaking, there's this one person that we have over the years been conditioned that there's this one person who's for me. Even recently, I saw some advertisement. It wasn't even a movie. I think it was one of those inspirational talks on love. I was researching, finding material for these talks only. And almost like a greeting card. And it said, it really doesn't matter how many people in the world there is, because it all only ever boils down to that one person. And so I thought, delete. Because that's not love. Right? If love boils down to one person, that's actually really sad. Because if my nature is love, and then I'm only going to be myself and use my nature with one person, can you imagine? It's like all of who I am in terms of my divine being is infinite and of the nature of joy and happiness. And then I say, no, I'll only be loving to this one person. And then that person also doesn't get my love full time when I'm in the mood. Because when I'm not in mood, I'm not very loving to this one person or very demanding of that one person. And this is also, it becomes actually too much pressure. Very often when parents have just one kid, I'll say, please have another one, because it's too much pressure for that kid to be that one soul, to get that all the attention of both parents, 4 grandparents. It's like, it's too much. And that's what happens even when we say, I'm going to love only this one person. This relationship has to be the most important relationship in my life, and it has to be the most significant relationship in my life. And I mean, I know romance is a beautiful notion. I'm not taking away from the idea that somebody is special to us. I'm really not taking away from that idea, because it is a very nice thing to find someone that we feel we can be ourselves with and grow with, and feel so incredibly comfortable and nurtured and safe with. The problem is that we limit it to one person. And so then it becomes about who to love, which is what Gurudev said, rather than how to love. And so I'm choosing who should I love. And literally, when we watch chicks flicks, people have list. So they meet a person, well, this person is, they meet this criteria and this criteria, but they don't meet this criteria. So no, cannot love you. Why cannot? So the idea of love, first and foremost, has to be broadened from romantic love to something that is not romantic specific. And then broadened that it can be every single person that we meet. And then and literally people will find this notion very weird. How can I love everyone I meet? That's just, people think it's weird that we can love everyone we meet. People really think love is this very special treasure that we share with only few people. So this is where it's so important for us to know the universal laws that govern the world and govern our life. So there's loads and loads of universal laws. Have we done any yet in last class, in the class before? We did? No. So first law that you would all be very, very familiar with is what you give is what you get. Law of karma, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. We're familiar with this. And how to use this? Well, how do we use this law? That's a great question. How do we use this law? Because the laws are not meant for me to just to know. They're meant for me to use. For instance, the law is fire is hot and it will burn. How do I use this law? Stay away from fire, especially during Diwali and lots of lamps and you have hangly dangly clothes. But I already successfully burnt my sari yesterday, so done for this Diwali. I did. Festive season started early in the ashram. No, that's not how you use the law. Fire is hot and burns. That's not how we use the law. Stay away from fire. That's not what we do. Do we stay away from fire? You're looking confused. You stay away from fire. Do you really? No, you don't. You use it. Exactly. You use it within a limit where it doesn't burn. Yes. To? You people are so vague. How do we use fire? Yes, we cook food. We use fire to cook food. Can you stop being abstract and vague? How else do we use the laws of fire? Yes, when it's cold, which is coming, winter is coming, we put heaters on so we can feel better. We don't say fire is hot, I'm never going to go near it. Wrong. That is not how we use it. In fact, when we are freezing cold in winter, we're like, where's the fire? Fire is hot and it burns. So we don't leave the food on the fire too long. We take it off before it burns. We use the laws of nature to serve us and to protect ourselves from getting hurt. Yeah, but we don't just hide, we use them. Okay, so now the law. What we give is what we get. How do we use it? We give whatever we want to get. Aha. Are we giving what we want to get? Then you're not using the law. Are you getting what you want? Now you know why. Was that funny? Okay. You guys, when did teach? When did y'all learn the law? I thought I was in Bal Vihar. When did I teach all this? When y'all were 4 years old. No, this is not Bal Vihar. Y'all would have learned it from someone else. When did y'all learn this law? What you give is what you get. You would have learned it as a kid. Yeah. So now, what do you want? This is not a trick question. Happiness, what should you be giving? What else do you want? What should you be giving? What else do you want? What should you be giving? Absolutely correct. If what you want is money, what you should be giving is money. Because it's the law. I'm not making it up. If it's the law, it's going to work. The law was fire burns, it works. I'll show you my sari. This law also works. How will you know it works? Go and try. Okay, there's another law. Please listen carefully. So next week when I say, what law did you learn? You all don't look at me like, you know, I'm from the E.T. movie. What you give in, I'm not saying it right. Whatever it is you give, you grow in that. Slightly different to what you give is what you get, but similar, but slightly different. What do I mean? So, you sure I didn't tell you all this? Maybe I did it in Bal Vihar. I give knowledge. So, I grow in knowledge. Means even if I give you all, like I'm not, but if I give you 2 cents of worth of knowledge, I grow and I have 10 cents worth of knowledge. Why cents? I should make it millions of dollars. If you give love, then you grow in love. Means you have more of it. So this is different that I give you love, and so I will get love. This is when I give love, I grow. I suddenly now have the capacity to love more. I am feeling love more. I have more access to it. And so this I tell you as experience that this law works. Yeah. When I first got to Hong Kong, I would take something like 20 Bal Vihar classes a week. No, that's too many. Maybe 15 Bal Vihar classes a week. And 1 adult class a week, 2 adult classes a week. But it doesn't matter that it was Bal Vihar. I grew. 1, in knowledge, and 2, in the ability to teach children. So the more you give, in that thing, you flourish. So whatever it is that you're giving, you get better at doing that. You become like PhD in that. So if you're giving anger to all and sundry, guess what you get really good at? If you give, holding on to grudges and you're giving hurt and pain and resentment to everyone, that's what you flourish in. You're giving love to everyone, that's what you flourish in. You give confidence to people, that's what you flourish in. You give support to people, that's what you flourish in. You're giving encouragement to people, that's what you flourish in. Basically, you've understood this law. Okay, so let's go back to the original question. What is it that you want? Do you have it? Abundantly happy? Good, great. Then no need to come. If you want more, now you know the law. And if you don't have it, now you know why. So these laws are very important for us to firstly know, secondly, apply. Yeah. We have to apply the laws because that's how to live in the world. The laws are the framework. The laws are the way in which we work. The rules, you can say. It's the how-to of the game. So when we restrict that I will only love these 5 people, okay, so it will usually be spouse if you're married, or whoever it is that's your partner, and then kids if you have any. So most people have only 2 kids. So then spouse and 2 kids, 3 people you love. Usually at least one parent you love. Mostly you don't love both. Not me. It's true generally in life. So then 4 people you love. Then some will have a good friend, at least one good friend, token. 5 people. I will love these 5 people. Everyone else is on backup list. You're laughing. People really think this way. Yeah. There are people, and it's not out of, when people think this way, it's because this is all that they've been exposed to. This is all that they know. And that's why if I say love every single person you meet, it's like foreign. The notion is foreign to them. So I'm not making fun of this kind of thinking. I'm showing you how it's actually very prevalent, not because the person's not a beautiful person. It's because they think that's how things are done. Everybody loves their 5 people. Everybody loves their 6, 7 people. Some really lucky people love 10 people. But everybody has their people that they love. And that's it. But if we go back to what I said earlier, love is our nature. It's who we are. So the example given to us in the scriptures is sugar is sweet. And so we know that the nature of sugar is sweet. So who is sugar sweet to? Everyone. Why? Because sugar's nature is sweet. If the nature of sugar is sweet, it's going to be sweet to everyone. Fire's nature was hot. Who's it hot to? Everyone. Our nature is love. So who should we be loving? Now, when we say that, we don't love everyone in exactly the same way. We're not going to hug and kiss and get highly excited to meet every single person that you meet. But it can be, just a look of acknowledgement. It can be, in early days when I used to go hiking in Hong Kong, it's the cutest thing that actually Hong Kong's become a lot more friendly. But in those days, they weren't so friendly. But on the hiking trails, people are so friendly. It's like that same person in the city is not friendly. But on the hiking trail, they'll see you from miles away. Josan! And so that chirpy Josan back, Josan is good morning. I said it right? I hope I said thank you. Is me loving this random stranger that I'm meeting on the hiking trail. Yeah. Because I'm saying it with enthusiasm and genuine joy and acknowledging them. And so it can be such a small thing, but it's love. Yeah. And then depending on, how receptive they are, sometimes you speak a little bit more or you wave. And, with me, limitation because I don't speak Chinese, but I managed all sorts of sign language. And they'd be highly amused by me and they'd have a little giggle and they'd walk off. They laughed. They enjoyed the moment. It's loving them. I haven't met most of those people again ever because I never even did the same hiking trail twice. We did a different hiking trail every week because, exploring Hong Kong. So love each person means that if love is my nature, but I don't recognize it to be my nature, and so make it my nature by finding a way to have some form of affection or some form of giving or some form of, and you remember I read this book and it was like, yeah, why aren't I doing this? And I would find so many ways in which to practice it. You can be in a restaurant and the waiter's rushing around, and then you just say, busy day. That's all. Like you acknowledge that it's a busy day for this guy who's running back and forth with so many things. And you'll say, that's not love. It's love. It's acknowledging that person. It's being in the moment and it's sharing that moment with the person. But it has to be felt. You have to feel it. This is another human being. Yeah. And they having whatever it is that they are going through. It could be a bright morning walk and we enjoy a chirpy good morning. It can be in the middle of a bustling day and I acknowledge that it's really stressful. Sometimes you're waiting in the doctor's office, and actually doctor's offices are very high stress places. Nobody goes to the doctor just for fun. Well, some people. And the other person sitting next to you, it's even, when they finish their appointment, I hope everything's okay. Right? Just love is thinking of ways to show or to share, rather, a moment of connection. Yeah. Love is thinking of ways to share a moment of connection. And so sometimes like I said, I took so many Bhavya classes and then that's what you grow in. So I would watch all these Disney movies and, I would tell everyone it's market research, but actually I just like watching Disney movies. And then you meet a kid because somebody called me home for dinner, or, it's somebody else's birthday and I'm invited to go and bless something, and there's a kid there. And then I mention, that Simba something, and then they get so excited because it's the character of Lion King and I knew who it is. And then I'll know even who the friend is. And then because I've watched all the movies, and it's just that moment of what's important to me. You know what's important to me. Yeah. Or it's just allowing connection to happen. Right? So if I know that pop culture, or if I know that engage, so sports people will wear their team colors, and then I know very little about it, but I'll know when it's cricket season. I'll know when it's soccer. Did you win? Did they win? And they'll be like, no, we lost. Now oh man, it's just the worst. Of course, I can't even remember if it's soccer or cricket. But I feel you lost. Do I like sports? Not at all. But they obviously do because they're wearing the whole getup. So you connect with something that they consider to be important. What love is, finding ways to have a moment of connection. And so love is just acknowledging the other person. And an amazing thing happens when we do this. Yeah. And actually, this was one of the most wonderful things that I found when we as a family moved from South Africa to Australia. In Australia, everybody just talks. Wherever you are, they just talk. Supermarket, you're in the queue, the person in front of you starts talking to you. So initially, mom would be like, why are they talking to me? until we got the hang of this. Now you should see my mom in the queue. And why not? Yeah. Like now, you see something in their trolley and you have a discussion. Is that good? I've been meaning to try it, but I haven't yet. It's allowing freeness of expression. And the bigger a city gets, we lose that. And that's probably why Hong Kong lost it, because it's too big a city, too much happening. Even Australia is losing it because the cities are becoming too big and talking is less. But as individuals, we can maintain it. And whatever is appropriate in that environment. And so often we're just scared to do it, right? They'll think I'm weird. So that does happen sometimes. They will look at you and think you're weird. And that's also great. Because without I'm not going to call them failures. Without the ones that are not complete successes, we don't know what success looks like. So when we initiate and it didn't go so well, then either I have to try something different, or maybe I'm not quite doing it right. Maybe I allowed fear to dilute my ability to connect. And so those events are also really good. Yeah. But there has to be braveness. To love, we have to have the braveness to try and have that little bit of an awkward moment, an uncomfortable moment. And then when we do it and it is a genuine connect and it's success, then we know it's success. And we know what's not success. And every time when it's not success, we think, okay. And then we get to the point where when it's not success, we can think in the moment how to bring it to success. So another really beautiful thing happens. When we constantly practicing creating these moments of connect with just everyone we meeting, the people who we are in relationships with, it becomes a habit for us to be attentive and make connects. And so those relationships improve. It's like any skill. The better I get at the skill, the more I practice the skill, the more I'm able to use it in a way that I get and the outcome I want to get. And here the outcome I want to get is not manipulative, it's to love you. And for you to know that I love you. So if I am loving only 5 people, how much practice am I getting? And they also get sick of me half the time. So they want space. So now I can't even practice love with them. Whereas if I just love everyone and I'm constantly looking for ways to show affection, which is suitable to me, right? I mean, please, each one of us has to be who we are, and we express it in the way that's fits in with our personality. So I remember in the ashram, we have so many different swamis. And I've been taught by actually so many different swamis. And we have Guruji, who's so cuddly and so affectionate and so engaging. Like even if Guruji doesn't actually hug you, with his eyes, he'll make lots of faces with you. And so there's such a obvious affection. Yeah? And then the person who taught me during my Vedanta course is like the opposite of that. He would sit, and then this was his affection. I have to collect myself. because he was such a serious person. He was such an incredibly serious person. But the more you got to know him, the more we got to know him over the 2 years of living with him in the um, ashram when we were studying, you'd realize that even the fact that he turned to look at you was affection. Because otherwise, he's so focused, he doesn't even look left or right. And so you start now, somebody who's so serious was able to connect, was able to show, was able to communicate to us affection that was completely fitting in with his character. I didn't require him to be like Guruji, making all the faces and being able to give a hug. That's all I needed from him, because I knew this is the way Acharya Ji showed affection. And so we don't have to be what we're not. We continue being who we are, but the sincerity with which we want to be able to give it, it will come out. And other people will understand it. Because we all know that everyone's different. And we all know we all show love in different ways. And we all have received love in different ways. Right? And so really what's crucial is I practice with everyone all the time. And then I become really good at it. I'm able to communicate concern, respect, availability, empathy with another person. And so who should we love? It has to be everybody. Because our nature is love. And this is in a way incredibly freeing. Because when we get told that we have to have these 1 or 2, 3 amazing relationships, so much pressure on us to find that person to have that relationship with, and so much pressure on that person to be the person for me. So this is like chutti. Everybody just be you and everybody just love everybody. This is what scriptures are saying. And why won't we do it? So our friend, Mr. Ego, Mrs. Ego, Miss Ego, special super duper ego, wants to feel special. Why does ego want to feel special? Because it's not. Because when we already are something, we don't want to feel it. When do we feel we want love? When we feel we are not loved. When do we want happiness? When we feel we don't have happiness. When do we want to be special? When we think we not. And then, some kids have been brought up really feeling like they are special. So when we tell them, you're really special, they're like, I know. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not a good thing. But in the case of ego, it's just not. It can't be. Because it limits us. And so this is a big hurdle that we have to cross in our thinking. What's the hurdle? I want to be special, and I want to be special for these people, and these people are special for me. We've been so conditioned, right? We have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, we have Valentine, we're so conditioned. You have to have these people in your lives who are special. And then to take that away, that no special people, and even I'm not special, and ego's like, no, I want to be special. And then Upanishads and Gita and all the scriptures are telling you, but ego cannot be special. And then when you tell ego it can't have something, it will fight more for it. So it becomes a hurdle in our thinking because we keep going back in our thinking, in our value system, we keep going back to, I want to be special. So what does I want to be special mean? Everybody else is not. That's what special means, right? So everybody else is not special. I am special, which means I am better than everyone else. This is ego. This is completely, totally ego. If I am better than you, then I'm doing you a favor by loving you. Are you going to feel loved? And if you are better than me, you're doing me a favor by loving me. Am I going to feel loved? No way. Yeah. So this trick, this ego plays to make us feel we need to be special is just its trick in trying to be better. And in that process, we actually lose out on loving. Because we can only love when you amazing and I love you. Not I'm better than you, but I still love you. That doesn't work. When I love you, I'm going to think you amazing. Ego is like, no, no, nobody else is amazing. Only I should be amazing. This is why I said ego can't love. Ego is too full of itself, wants too much importance. So ego's need to have only few people and need to feel special is a way of ensuring that we don't feel loved. It's so sad. We all desperately want to be loved, and then ego is ensuring that we don't feel it. Because I only feel loved when I feel I'm completely special. And you don't love other people. You love only me. Then, aha, so nice. But it goes against the very grain of love, and love is our nature. Yeah. And so, shush, ego needs to just be quiet, sit down quietly in the corner, not say a word. Am I special? As long as ego is sitting quietly in the corner, yes, because then I'm Brahman. Then I'm love itself, and love is so incredibly special. Love is wanted. Love is desirable. Love is power. Love is liberating. It's freeing. It's beautiful. I think I said that already. Okay. So who should we love? Everybody. Okay. And it's not about who, it's about how. And how should we love? Just sincerely, more than anything else. Sincerely. Okay, that was all last week's class. We're still doing letter number 2. Jackie's already read up till 6. We have to make progress here. We did fall in love and rise in love. Yes. We did do. No, I can't count on you. You wrote the book with me. Did we do fall in love and rise in love? No?
No.
Okay. So Swamiji, Gurudev has written this line, and it's such a well-known quote of Gurudev. Don't fall in love, rise in love. And in the book, he spoke about epileptic convulsions of love. Do you remember that bit? No? Huh? Yeah, in the letter, Gurudev said epileptic convulsions of love. Do you know what he's referring to? Infatuation. It's like you have this, you, when you love a person. I love the choice of his words. So this is not even love. Epileptic convulsions is infatuation. And so again, conditioned romance, not wider love, but when we think specifically in terms of romantic type of love, then we talk about falling in love. Gurudev makes a lot of fun of that it is falling. Because your nature is love, and then if you decide you can only love this one person, then that's a fall. Because the nature should be that you loving to everyone. Also, when it's infatuation, it's very distracting, right? You become so tunnel vision and you become very preoccupied, and it's probably specific to that age, but actually people fall in love at any age. It's not age specific. It feels like a high, but then it has a really bad crash. Yeah. And so the person who, there's another book called The Art of Loving, as I mentioned, by Eric Fromm. And he actually, in his book, he says, stand in love. And he talks about it in terms of, don't let love be something that's a fashion or a mood that you do like as an activity. Yeah. But be consistent in love and be steady in your love. And so it has depth, right? You're not shaken. And Gurudev goes even further. And Gurudev says, actually, use love to rise. And more so when he talks towards the end of the book on devotion. So love is our nature. And when we love, we rise to be our nature of Om. But also who we love, even though I just spoke about loving everyone, the who we love here is when we love God, or when we love country, or when we love someone who we admire and we look up to, then that love pulls us to be better and bigger and stronger. Whereas when we love in the infatuation sense, to enjoy, right? So when I fall in love, I want to enjoy that person and that relationship and that feeling of special. And so it pulls me away from my nature of love. It pulls me into wanting to enjoy, or wanting me, and whether I'm enjoying pleasure, or I'm enjoying power, or I'm enjoying the ego feeling special. And so I'm not being my nature. I'm distracted by it. That's epileptic convulsions of that. And I guess this age group doesn't need so much discussion on it. But when we do youth camps, we talk a lot about infatuation. Because especially when we spend so much time with a person, we pick up things from them. Like, we definitely become the company we keep. And so okay, I think I covered all the points. Let's read the next letter. So we're doing chapter number 3.
I love you. Chapter 3. One who seeks pleasures renounces studies. One who seeks studies renounces pleasures. To a seeker of pleasures, there is no study. To the studious, where is the time for sense pleasures? Beloved children, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Namaskaram. I had promised you that we would discuss the nature of love and learn how to love others. Let us first of all carefully observe what is the nature and function of love. Later, I shall write to you of the method of loving the world around you. Animals have an instinctive sense of possessiveness and a well-developed herd love. When we observe these, we can say that there is love exhibited in their relationship with other animals of their kind. This sense of blind attachment and family or caste or national group loyalty is also seen among human beings. But man, in his higher evolution, has gained a greater awareness of himself and of his environments. Man is aware of his own imperfections. He is conscious of the past, excited with the present, and is vaguely worried about his unknown future. In his grown-up and therefore more penetrating understanding, he knows that his beloved ones must die one day, and that he himself may have to leave in his death all his loved ones. He is alone in the midst of all the multitudes around him. He may have wealth, power, name, fame, achievements, etc. But he is alone. And in that sense of loneliness, he suffers from the panic of separateness. He is afraid of himself, afraid of the others. The Upanishad Vishi cry out, "From the other is all fear." This sense of separateness creates 1,000 anxieties, fears, worries, and sorrows. In their turn, these drive an individual to be selfish, cruel, angry, and sometimes criminal. Love alone becomes then the answer for this general problem of human existence. Without the sense of harmony within that can be experienced only in the union of love, man suffers from a voiceless pang of separateness. And this condemns him to an inner sense of loneliness. The gopis felt this anguish when Krishna, the embodiment of love, was not with them. As long as the flute bearer was amidst them, so long each of them felt transported into an exquisite state of inner joy and harmony, away from all their sense of loneliness. The despair of Radha, the anguish of devotees when they find themselves hurled down from their sense of harmony, are all examples of this dark despondency at their own psychological sense of loneliness. This inner sense of separateness breeds a feeling of shame and a general sense of guilt. Where true love is, none of them can ever come into our heart. Hence, Krishna runs away with the clothes of the milkmaids, and they had to forget their shame and sense of guilt in their state of at-one-ment with him, gained through love. This is a universal demand. How can one end this sense of separateness and discover the fusion in love? How can man learn to rise above his sense of limitations and fears? How can he discover his oneness with the world around him through love? This demand is found in all people, in all periods of history, in all cultures, countries, and races. As long as we are in our early childhood, there is no sense of separateness. While in the womb, certainly we are one with the mother. And in the early years of our arrival into this world, we are still entirely one with our mother. But soon, children instinctively start their fight with the mother, rebelling against her sense of total possessiveness. The child's sense of separateness from its parents comes to assert itself, hence its early disobediences. This is natural with all healthy children. But with this freedom to revolt comes the awareness of his separateness as a distinct individual. This sense of separateness brings a painful sense of loneliness and the consequent need for fresh avenues to rediscover his oneness with the world outside, in and through love. The child experiments with new relationships, friends from the neighborhood, from the classrooms, relatives, teachers, and others. All these attempts to walk out from our own inner sense of loneliness into the outer world are undertaken only to discover and gain a union with all through love. We are essentially one. The experience of the many, and so the apparent sense of separateness from all others, are the play of delusion. The individuality in each of us, in its loneliness, seeks its escape in 1,000 ways. And they have all come to be accepted in society. Every new experiment with fresh means for this escape becomes a new fashion. We enthusiastically take up each one of them, and for the time being, feel happy with it, even enthralled by it. But soon, they get stale, unsatisfactory, and ineffectual. The social search starts again.
Okay, so in this chapter, Gurudev's really talking about how the sense of separateness that is connected by the ego. Okay, so remember, essentially we are divine. Essentially, there's only one truth. And so we are that one truth. And that one truth is infinite, it's eternal, and it's indivisible. So it actually can't be cut up or separated. And so each one of us is all of that divinity. But we forget this one essence, which is at the very core of our being. And we come to believe ourselves to be this body, mind, intellect unit. And then we feel separate from each other, and separate from God, and separate from everything. And then, so there's another law. Third law for today. What was the first law? What you give is what you get. Second law, whatever you give, that's what you grow in. Third law for today. We seek that which we are. So our nature is love, and so we seek love. Our nature is joy, and so we seek joy. Just like when the nature of water is cool, and so if we heat up water, the minute we take it off the gas, it will start cooling down. It seeks to go back to its nature. Anything, we pull it out from where it's supposed to be, it will try and find a way back to what was already its nature. So we seek that which we already are. So we forgot who we are, and then we think we are these individual personalities, but we will constantly seek oneness because our nature is indivisible. We are not comfortable with the separateness that we are feeling because it's not our nature. It starts, so for a while we enjoy it. Yay, I'm so special, I'm so intelligent, I'm so this. And then after a while, we don't like it. It's a little bit like when something's not our nature. And so we put on an accent. And at first, it's very fun to put on this accent and to sound so fancy. And then after a while, it's a burden to have to keep using this accent, right? Or if you, anything, and I know women have gotten very used to wearing high heels, but at first, because it's not our nature. So when you put it on, it's very uncomfortable. And then you'll seek back comfort. And so I'm told at all the parties at around 3 in the morning, they take out chappals that everyone can now wear flat shoes again. So they'll stay at the party longer because otherwise they use that as an excuse to go away from the party and people don't want you to leave the party. So please stay in the party. Here's some flat shoes for you to wear. All the hotel slippers. No, y'all don't know. Y'all don't go to all these parties. I also don't go. I'm fast asleep at 3 in the morning, but I've been told. So it's not our nature. We will move away from what's not our nature, and we will be drawn to what's our nature. We are drawn to comfort. So we seek oneness, but the ego doesn't like it when we seek oneness. Why? Because the ego wants to be special. If I'm just one with everything, I'm not special. So there's a little bit of a tug of war between us. We seek oneness, but we want to stand out. So you'll see this. Everybody will follow the same fashion, but then they want to stand out. Everybody is doing law, then you also do law, but then you want to stand out. So a little bit we inside, we're confused. What do we really want? We don't know. Why? Because ego is pulling us one way and our nature is pulling us another way. Please remember, ego is not our nature. So, but we will seek oneness. And so now the chapter will continue to show us so many different ways in which we try to seek oneness. But for now, we'll pause. Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, Mrityarma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo